ध्यायामो धवलावतं धनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिद्धसूक्तं मृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी। ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः। Once again, welcome everyone. So, over handing over the session to Sir.
Yeah, namaste. So we are steadily progressing in terms of familiarizing with the different rivers of the Rig Veda. So if I make a recap, we have gone through so many rivers. If I just give a kind of a summary, we have gone through Haryupi and Yagyabati, the two rivers of Haryana region in the western Haryana region. Ganga River, no introduction required. Saraswati, again no introduction required. Drishadvati, the tributary of Saraswati. Apaya, the tributary of Saraswati, as well as the older course of Saraswati. And then Bipas and Sududri, the Punjab rivers, Bias and Satluj. And the famous crossing of Vishwamitra in a bull-driven chariot across the confluence of Bipas and Sududri. An important aspect of the migration of the Rigvedic people to the from the Varaprativya, the Haryana Kurukshetra region to Punjab, and then subsequently into the northwestern parts. Then you have Yamuna River, no introduction required, but maybe the name of Yamuna Amshumati, which is very important in our analysis of the eastern Ikshwaku migration. So Amshumati is related to the name of the ancestor of Sri Rama, who migrated eastward, that Amshumat. So that is important about Yamuna River. And then we have seen the Parushni River, the Ravi River, which is bordering the Indian and Pakistan side of Punjab, basically the Indo-Pakistan border river in Punjab. And the Battle of Parushni, that is famous as the Dashrajna battle. And then we see the Asikni River to the northwest of it, the Chenab River. And to the northwest of Asikni, the Vibali River, which later came to be known as Vidasta, and today known as Jhelum River, the river of Kashmir, flowing through Pakistan. That is the Vibali River. Then to the northwest of it is the Sindhu River, the Indus. No introduction required, but when I say this from Ganga, then Saraswati, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Sududri, Parushni, Asikni, Vibali, and then Sindhu. Perfect east to northwest, east to west migration, or more precisely, east to northwest migration. Very perfectly you can see. And then the Sarayu River, which is a tributary of the Sindhu River, where it descends from the mountains. So basically, the Sindhu River have the almost 50% of the Sindhu River is on the as a river of the Himalayas, flowing from starting from the Tibetan plateau, close to Kailasa and Manasarovar. And the Sindhu River flows through the high Himalayan mountains and then just descend into the plains, the Indo-Gangetic plains in Pakistan. So as it descends from the plains, one tributary joins it, and that is the Sarayu River, not to be confused with the Sarayu in the Uttar Pradesh, which is where Ayodhya is located, and Sri Rama and Dasharatha and others are born. So not to be confused with, so we have a western Sarayu, also called the Rigvedic Sarayu, which is also the one land of the Ikshwakus, but the western Ikshwakus, who are also known in the Rig Veda as Trikshis. And we are also familiarized with two Trikshi kings, Trasadasya and Purugutsa. The Purugutsa is the father and Trasadasya is the son. Just like how Dasharatha and Rama are in the Ramayana. Dasharatha is father and Rama is son. So Dasharatha and Rama are the eastern Ikshwakus, and Trasadasya and Purugutsa and Trasadasya, father and son. are the Western Ikshvakus. And they were living in the Western Sarayu, that is a tributary of Sindhu River, and also known as the Haro River, because in the Western text, the Sarayu is mentioned as Harayu, and the Harayu got truncated into Haro. So that Haro River in Pakistan, which is a tributary, eastern tributary of Sindhu, is the Sarayu River mentioned in the Rig Veda. We also understood and evaluated the other possible identification of the Sarayu in Afghanistan with the Harirudh River, etc. And we saw that it is completely impossible and not aligning with the geography. And then we have seen two rivers, Urjayandi and Sarapas in the previous talk. And Urjayandi and Sarapas are part of the Saraswati River network. And Sarapas is basically the Ghaggar stream of the Sarayu River network. And Urjayandi is another tributary of Saraswati to the, it's a kind of a westernmost tributary of the Saraswati and the Sarapas river. Basically, this is these two. This Ghaggar is basically have created a kind of an archaeological confusion, whereas the archaeologists typically consider the Ghaggar stream as the starting point of the river Saraswati, and continues to call the river Saraswati as the Ghaggar river. 30% of the river is Ghaggar river, and then the remaining 30% in the middle is Hakra river, and the last 30% is the Nara river. That is how the archaeologists understand the Saraswati river. But we see that the Saraswati mentioned in the Mahabharata, which is Balrama's pilgrimage, that very clearly shows he passed through the various locations along the banks of Saraswati. And the true Saraswati is originating from very close to the Yamuna river. And today it is known as Saraswati. The tributary name, the river name is Saraswati. And it is considered as flowing into the Ghaggar as a tributary. Whereas the Aitihasik or the Rigvedic Saraswati is basically the Saraswati stream, where Ghaggar is a tributary. So that difference I have mentioned. And the Ghaggar river is directly identified as the Sarapas of Rigveda, and also Sharadanda river of Ramayana. So that is where that clarity comes in. And Urjayandi is a river which carries energy. So basically it means trade, goods, etc. And Indra is mentioned as helping a trader inside the Urjayandi river, and which also demolish some of preconceived notions of the Aryan invasion theory, where Indra is considered as a nomadic invader who destroyed the trade settlements of the Harappan Indus Valley civilization. Far from it, the Indra is almost like a god who protects the trade. So he is basically a kind of can be considered as a patron god of Indus Valley or Sindhu Saraswati civilization, who support trade networks and helps traders. So again, complete demolition of some of the notions of the Aryan invasion theory, and how it proper analysis of the data aligns with our own traditional understanding and our archaeologist understanding of the Harappan civilization as another side of the Rigvedic or Vedic literary civilization. Now, today we will be having another set of interesting rivers. In fact, we will today get introduced to three rivers, not three, but four rivers. Shifa, Anjasi, Kulasi, and Veerapatni. So four rivers are introduced in this in today's talk. And the reason why they are introduced together is because these rivers are mostly mentioned together in the middle Rigvedic period. And also they are geographically located in the southern part of Haryana. So even when I say this, it automatically gives out a pattern. The Rigvedic people, or the dominant Rigvedic people, the Tritsu Bharatas, that is the descendants of Sudas. They are the descendants of Sudas means many prominent kings like Sahadeva and Somaka. Not to be confused with the Sahadeva, the Pandava, the fifth Pandava Sahadeva, not to be confused with that Sahadeva. Sahadeva is the name of a very famous king in the lineage of Sudas, the great emperor of the early Rigvedic period. So in the middle Rigvedic period, there were two kings named Sahadeva and Somaka, who descended directly from the Sudas lineage. And this Sahadeva and Somaka, after that, there was a decline period of the Rigveda, this Drishubharada people, no major kings. And because of that, there was some invasions happening. And because of that invasion, these people who were living in the Varaprasthya, the dominant place of the Rigvedic geography. So since the people become powerless, they got displaced. Just like King Sudas displaced Samvarana, who was lesser in power, and made him to migrate to to the northwest of Parushni. When the Sudas descendants became powerless, they declined in power. Other forces made them migrate to southwards. So their Kurukshetra was occupied by the Anavas. And this is also directly recorded in the Avestan text, that is the Zoroastrian, the pre-Zoroastrian Avestan text, where they mentioned that they occupied Varena. Varena is nothing but, and they occupied four-cornered Varena. So four-cornered is an attribute of Kurukshetra, as well as Varaprasthya. So the Anavas occupied Varena. The four-cornered Varana means the Anavas occupied the Varaprasthya region, which has four corners and also later known as Kurukshetra. So that occupation by the Anavas is automatically represented in the Puranas as Asuras occupying the Devaloka, because Varaprasthya is very sacred and it is also considered as Devaloka. And so this we can see. And subsequently in the Rigveda, you can see a major shift in the names of the rivers when subsequent to this happened. So in the somewhat in the middle Rigvedic mandala, first mandala, 104th sutta mentioned about the Shifa river. So bring down the Ketava, bring down the Phenam, that is form, bathing in the milk. These two maidens of Kuyava are to be cured or destroyed in the torrents of the Shifa river. So it is talking about some kind of an activity happening on the banks of Shifa river. And I identified it as the Sahibi river of Delhi. So the Delhi region, the Sahibi river is mentioned in the Rigveda, and it is mentioned as Shifa river. And in this, it is basically mentioned about some ritual happening about Yava. Yava is the food grain. Yava can also mean barley, but in early Rigvedic, Yava could mean any food grain. Of course, including barley. So that barley, so there is some kind of a ritual related to barley is mentioned in that. Kuyava means bad Yava, that is some damaged Yava, or means bad cultivation. It could mean bad cultivation, bad harvest. All these things are implied here. And so it is talking about two maidens that cause bad harvest. That is Ketaveda and the Phenam. Phenam means the foam actually. So it seems to be that these people have migrated from the first fertile land of the Varaprasthya or the Kurukshetra region. The name Kurukshetra is still in the future, but I'm saying Varaprasthya, and to be renamed as Kurukshetra. From there, they migrated southwards, and they're trying to maybe create a new cultivated farm and agricultural places in the new territory. And they are actually getting some setbacks like Kuyava, that is a bad harvest, etc. And that is why this particular so the rig is almost like an Atharvavedic rig, wherein some kind of a the magic is performed. Some kind of like there are some evil spirits, and that evil spirits need to be eliminated for good harvest, and that kind of things they are mentioned. So it's basically an entry into new territory and doing some new harvest, and then some, because it's a new territory, because of some other reasons where weather is unknown, or some kind of deviation, because they are now living in a different territory. Natural to have the bad harvest and such things occur. So this is also, that's how the Shifa river we get familiarity with the Shifa river. This is how the Shifa river is being introduced. And it is also mentioned so many things in cryptic language. For example, in the same sutta, there is a 104th sutta in the first mandala, again middle Rigvedic actually. They mention about the Nabhi of Ayu diminishing and shifting eastwards and towards the domains of Shura. So many things like Nabhi of Ayu means actually Nabha Prithvya. Ayu is one of the oldest king, like Ila's son is Pururavas. Pururavas married Urvashi, and their son is Ayu. So Ayu is an ancestral king. So Nabhi of Ayu basically means the Nabha Prithviya or the Vara Prithviya. That is the Kurukshetra itself. The power is shifting from there. So from Nabhi is another Nabha Prithviya and Vara Prithviya. Similarly, Nabhi is another name for the Kurukshetra, the central region. So the Nabhi is shifting towards east, towards the domains governed by Shura. So Shura is basically there is a Surasena kingdom, which is to the southwest of Delhi. Like Delhi is in now Delhi, you know the location of Delhi, and Surasena kingdom is like Mathura, the centered in the Mathura. So Sura towards the domain of governed by Shura means to the south. That is so to the southeast basically. So that is exactly where the from Vara Prithviya, Delhi is to the southeast, and you proceed further southeastward, you reach Mathura, the domains governed by Shura. So there are a lot of hints that the people migrated, and not only one. So I gave two references about Shifa, which is a Sahibi river of Delhi, getting mentioned, and some cultivation happening there, and it is going wrong. And it is also mentioning about the Nabhi of Ayu shifting. So all these things are in the middle Rigvedic period. It is discussing, and all the suttas slowly get a particular fear nature of they in earlier other suttas are all about dominance and power and positive nature, but now the suttas itself take a very very sad tune. For example, Sutta 104 in the middle Rigveda, they mention about don't hand us over to the others, don't strike at us, don't hand us over, don't let us lose our supplies which are dear to us, don't divide our eggs, don't divide our cups. So basically they are suffering this the Rigvedic poets who are patrons to the kings. These kings are suffering some invasion and defeat, and based on our analysis we know that is the Anava defeat of the this Vara Prithviya region. So there was a period of occupation of the Anavas in the Vara Prithviya region, and or subsequently these people are defeated, and they are fled to the south and southeast of the Kurukshetra region, that is Delhi region. So all these things are evidence because they moved to the domain of Shura, that is Shurasena, that is from Vara Prithviya, it is a southeast direction. And also trying to cultivate in the No region in the Shifa river, that is Shahibi river, and also getting some difficulty in good crops. And then you have all these poetic statements about don't strike at us, don't hand us over, don't let us lose our supplies, and don't divide our eggs, and don't divide our cups. All these things actually significance of the invasion. And of course, in the Vendidat, the Western text Vendidat, in the 16 lands of Havaras, Varana is mentioned as one of the lands where they have occupied in some period in the past. And I correlate with that to this particular shift in this. So there is some kind of shift that has happened. And then like if you proceed further, like yeah, I mean I was mentioning that there was a kind of conflict of the the Anava occupation of the Vara Prithviya region, and similarly the Puranas all report about the Devasura war and Asura conquering the Devas, and the Devas going somewhere else. So this is actually the scenario of this Danava or Anava occupation of the Vara Prithviya region. And Vendidat also mentioned Varena, that is Vara Prithviya as one of the region they have occupied in some part of their history. So everything corroborates with each other. And then comes to the other three rivers, Anjasi, Tulsi, and Veerapatni. So Sahibi river is mentioned separately, that is the river of Delhi is mentioned separately in a sutta. And then in another sutta, that is 104, Sutta 104 of the first mandala, Anjasi, Tulsi, and Veerapatni now urge and bring milk in their waters. So basically, there is a rik which says Anjasi, Tulsi, and Veerapatni. Three rivers are now providing milk in their waters. So what is the providing milk in their waters means? Basically, they are nourishing the inhabitants. So these are the three rivers that are found in this particular new territory where the Tritsu Bharatas occupied, the descendants of the Vodasa, Sudas, Sahadeva, and Somaga, the famous ancestors. Their descendants are in trouble, and they are now occupying this southern region to the south of Kurukshetra. That is called Kurujangala. Later it's called Kurujangala region, which also include Delhi. So in that region, they are living in the rivers in this region. Of course, the rivers are sustainers. They are the people who, the rivers are the source of sustenance. That is why the poet says, Anjasi, Tulsi, and Virapatni now urge and bring milk in their waters. So they are the new supply, new source of sustenance for the people, the defeated people who are living in the in the Kurujangala region. So this is all about the river references inside the new territory in the middle Rigvedic period. Most of them are in the first mandala, and all the rivers are very strange because they are not mentioned in any other place in the Rigveda. And see, Anjasi and Tulsi are mentioned for the first time, and even Virapatni is mentioned for the first time. And of course, the scholars vary. A lot of variations in the interpretation, etc. Because of the lack of geographical correspondence, different people just like the touching the blind men touching the elephants. They have a lot of false identification of the three rivers. Some of them consider it as mythical river because there is no way they can correlate it to whichever it is. And only the ML Bhargava comes very close, because ML Bhargava says that they are real rivers which are part of the Saraswati river network. And this is very close. This particular observation is very close. Of course, they are indeed part of Saraswati river system, because he also might have gone through the actual Rigvedic references and somehow got a hint that they are part of very much close to the Saraswati river network system. And my analysis shows that it is very much 70% close to whatever ML Bhargava has mentioned. And what I did additional to whatever ML Bhargava has done, I searched the hydrology maps to identify these rivers. And when I observed the river channels, what I understood is all these rivers are mentioned in some other manner in previous earlier part of the Rigveda, but their geology is slightly to the southern part, that is of the Kurukshetra. So anyway, I have this additional information that which by analyzing the Rigveda, I got this additional information that the people have migrated southward it is not as original territory, not their native territory. And by analyzing the Rigvedic data, I understand that they are trying to adjust into a new territory. So where to explore the territory other than the vicinity of Saraswati? And then I got the first clue, that is Virapatni is an epithet of Saraswati herself. Because Virapatni is in some other, I did mention in our talk, in some other earlier mandalas also, Saraswati is called Virapatni. And then when you look at the map, now I'll show the map. Just a minute. So once we identified one of the river, it becomes easier. So this is the Virapatni, that is it's a synonym of Saraswati herself. And the term Virapatni is more applied to the southern part of the Saraswati. Little bit south to the south of Saraswati. We already know that further down south, the Saraswati was also known as Sarayu by the early Ikshwakus like Sakara and Asamanja, called the same Saraswati as Sarayu. So Saraswati can have different names in different parts. So Virapatni is a term associated with Saraswati, and it is also because Saraswati also called as the wife of the brave people who are living in that Saraswati region. So she is, of course, it's natural for us to call the river as mother, but it is also sometimes the river is identified as the husband of the brave man. Of course, the Santanu's wife Ganga. So Ganga is, instead of considering as a mother, Ganga is the husband. Is the wife of Shantanu. So it is natural to identify rivers not only as mothers, but in some cases they are identified as wives of brave men. just like Ganga is the wife of Shantanu. And even also mentioned as a daughter of Brahman. That is why Ganga is also mentioned as Jannavi. That is the daughter of Jannu, the ancestor of Vishwamitra. So the river can be, we can actually the cultural. I mean, in our Bharatiya culture, the river can be expressed as mother, wife, or as daughters. Also, even though the calling the river as mother is more popular, but she can also be called as the wife of the Brahman. So that is Veerapatni is all about. And then second identification, Anjasi, that is coming from the etymology of the river. So Anjasi is considered as a straight river without much bends. And Anjasi, so if you look at this Yavyavati, right, the Yavyavati river, that is the western channel of Yamuna river. In some period of time, Yamuna indeed flow through this particular channel. And today, this entire channel is converted into a canal, that is the Ganga, the Yamuna canal, etc. But earlier, there was a water flow in this river. The river hydrology is very dynamic. So a large part of the water which was flowing into Yamuna was flowing through the Saraswati river. And then there is a Drishadvati, and it was flowing like this, and it has a bend here. It's like a elbow bend is there here. And after the elbow bend, it flows. So the Drishadvati river is flowing north to south direction. And suddenly there is a bend here. And then it is flowing from east to west direction. But compared to Drishadvati, the Yavyavati river is not having, it's flowing, maintaining its direction, which is north to south. So that means one river is straight flowing river, another river in contrast to the other river. So there are two rivers. We know that these same rivers are also mentioned as Hariyupya and Yavyavati in the oldest reference in the first two rivers we have identified. So these two rivers are always a pair. Hariyupya and Yavyavati are mentioned as a pair of rivers. And one of the army got stuck in that river, the Vrichi ones, the common enemy of Srinjaya and Abhyavartin Chayamana. The Vrichi ones got stuck in the parallel river network, and then they got defeated. All these things we have studied in the first session of the rivers. So Hariyupya and Yavyavati are always a pair river because they run parallel. But what happens after they're running parallel up to this point, Drishadvati makes a bend and becomes a east to west river, whereas Hariyupya continues as a north to south river. It maintains the direction, and that is why it is called Anjasi, the straight flowing river. That is a simple definition of it. So once I identified Anjasi, I have also identified Veerapatni. Then I can automatically, the third river is very easily identified as Pulisi, that is Drishadvati herself. So of course, you can see the same river is mentioned as Hariyupya here and paired with Yavyavati here. Hariyupya and Yavyavati paired together, mentioned in the early Rig Veda. And same Drishadvati river is mentioned as Drishadvati. Again in the early Rig Veda in the third mandala, etc. Drishadvati, the river of stones. Because it's another attribute of the same river. So many rocks are there on this river. Just like Saraswati have so many lakes, Drishadvati have many rocks along the river. So Drishadvati is also Hariyupya, and now it is also Kulisi river. And of course, the Kulisi river is have a lot of connection with the Parashurama, etc. And subsequently in the late Rigvedic Bhargava Jamadagnya, that is Rama Jamadagnya. This river is connected because Ramahrada, this is the Ramahrada, the sacred spot of Rama Jamadagnya is located on the same river. And the same river is mentioned as Raupya in Mahabharata. So you can see this same river is also having multiple names, 4 names actually. Hariyupya, then Drishadvati, Kulisi, and in Mahabharata as Raupya. So all these names are identified, is actually the different names of the same river. This was tributary of Saraswati. The oldest name Hariyupya. Then the Hariyupya is shortened and it becomes Raupya. In the Mahabharata, have this name Raupya actually. This is a shortened form of Hariyupya. And then it is also the Drishadvati, the most famous name. And it's also Kulisi river. And Anjasi, Kulisi, and Veerapatni, 3 rivers are mentioned together in the first mandala verse I mentioned. Like these are the new rivers when the this Tritsu Bharata people from here. I mean, from here. This is the Kurukshetra, right? So from here they migrated downwards, and then these people are like naming the names like Anjasi, Kulsi, and Veerapatni, and Shifa River, of course, which is the Sahibi River. So the four rivers are suddenly appear in the middle Rigvedic period. The four new river names are appearing all of a sudden: Shifa, Anjasi, Kulsi, and Veerapatni. And Veerapatni is again another name of Saraswati into the southern course. And Kulsi is another name of Drishadvati. And Anjasi is another name of Yavyavati, which is the western channel of Yamuna River, currently defunct and serving us as a Yamuna Canal. And Shifa River, of course, it is the Sahibi River. It is originating in Rajasthan and flowing into Delhi. And the entire reasons why they are occupying this southern region, which later came to be known as Kuricangala, is known to us. Because of the invasion, you can say it's because Sudas because of his dominance, many kings left the Varaprithvya region, or they were exiled from the Varaprithvya region. So Anavas were one of them. So even Samvarana Bharata was one of them. And since we call the Kurus as returning back to Varaprithvya, we don't call Kurus are invading into Varaprithvya, because they were living, their ancestors were living in Varaprithvya. So when they returned back, we have to say that they returned back. So same terminology has to apply to the Anavas, because they were also expelled from the Varaprithvya region. So after living along with Samvarana Bharata and the Ikshvakus in the Sarayu Sindhu region, or also called Sharyanavat region, or the region where the Sindhu River descends from the mountains into the Indo-Gangetic plain. So after living there for a long time, whenever they got an opportunity, that is the Tritsus who have expelled them got weakened after the rule of Sahadeva and Somaka. And then they were ruled by weak kings. At that time, they attacked and they returned back to Varaprithvya.